one of my basic concepts is that I want to give myself, and by extension, I want to give you simple rules that you can use in your life so that you can make wise decisions and save time. So, in other words, if you understand the basics of something, right? Like if you understand the basics of physics, right? It's very easy to look at an invention and say that's impossible because you know that it's impossible for that to happen. If you don't know the basic rules, then what happens is you spend a lot of time distracted and going down rabbit holes of life. But life is too fucking busy for that. So, especially when it comes to health, you need to be able to understand the basics and make decisions based on concepts that are very simple, like gravity and stuff like that, right? So that you don't have to think every time, am I going to fly up into space, right? You're like, okay, I know I'm not going to do that. And so you know that instinctively. But when it comes to other things in life, the problem is most people these days just do not understand the basic rules. So I want to give you the way I think about, like today I clicked on these links. Everything is about health. And I wanted to give you some concepts. And I think this is super fucking valuable information. It's really my way of thinking so that I can accomplish a lot of goals at the same time. Like right now, I'm fighting a very difficult court case. I'm representing myself. I'm traveling the US. I'm doing events. I'm hanging out with friends. I'm helping people. I'm making videos. What else am I doing? Researching new ideas. I'm writing for my blog. It's like I've got 100 things that I'm working on, but I don't look that busy. Last night we went walking around the harbor. We went swimming the last couple of days, went to the beach. How do I do that? I do it by being very efficient. I've always been very fucking efficient. That's the key. Of course you can do something if you spend all your time on it, but you don't want to fucking do that. You want to be healthy, minimum. You want to work out once a week, bam, you're done. You want to be able to, accomplish the things that you need to do and then move on to the next because there's always something else that you want to accomplish, right? That's one of my core concepts. So let's look at this, a couple ideas here, and I think you'll start to be able to generalize more ideas. Okay, so here's an article by The Guardian. Okay, the rate of Parkinson's disease is exploding, and a common chemical may be to blame. Okay, so that's the article. So what do most people do when they see an article like this? They basically think, okay, what's the chemical? Which of course they want to find out, right? So what is the chemical? I want to find out first what's it in. It's in shoe polishes, carpet cleaners, dry cleaning, things like that, right? Okay, but TCE it creates apparently. Okay, here's the thing. This research could be incorrect, okay? But what I do with an article like this, I know it's been somewhat peer reviewed. You can see it's peer reviewed. People have done a lot of research. Parkinson's is a terrible disease. My friend has it. She shakes all the time. It's really terrible. It's neurological, and you can't control your own hands, and it's just terrible disease, right? So those kind of diseases I try to avoid the most, right? Blood diseases, bone diseases, nervous system. These are like the worst kind of shit, right? So I put it in my mind as far as priorities. The worst thing, you break an arm doesn't matter, right? Fucking it'll come back, right? But Parkinson's, shit like this is evil stuff, right? So you want to avoid this kind of stuff, right? So my mind is like, okay, it's a mainstream article, which people are going to say mainstream means nothing, but it does. It's somewhat vetted, okay? It's been through a few. There's been a research thing, and some idiot journalist wrote an article about it, and now it's here. And you can look at the study, which I always do, by the way. I always click on the study quickly to see, was it a real study? That's okay. So now it is a real study. So I'm like, okay, it's peer reviewed, which peer reviewed, for you guys that don't know, is important. That credibility is when it's peer reviewed. Okay, so next, boom, peer reviewed, real study based on something. It's not some SJW talking about, toxic masculinity. There's no research on that. There's no peer-reviewed study on toxic masculinity. It's just a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of words, and a waste of your time until somebody proves something. Until there's something that is proven, don't waste your time on it. Okay, so next, what do you do with this article? It's a chemical. What most people do is ignore this article because it's too complicated. Life's too complicated, right? Like it's in dry cleaning. You maybe don't do dry cleaning. It's called TCE. You don't even know what it looks like, smells like. You can't find it. It's in household products. That's too vague. Shoe polishes. Okay, maybe you might not polish your shoes as much. Carpet cleaners, you might clean your carpets less. But in reality, let's face it, if you got dirty carpets, you're probably going to fucking clean them anyway. So how do you integrate these ideas into your life? Okay, here's what I do. I make a very simple fucking rule. I don't think about the chemical. I don't think about the fucking carpets. What I do is I go back to the basics. So I look around my house. So right now I'm looking on the floor. It's a stone floor. Okay, over there is a wood floor. Now there's a little bit of varnish on the wood floor, but it's old, right? There's paint on the walls, but they're white, and it's a very old, simple paint, right? I look around the house. There is not much. Okay, what I'm looking for is, you know, the new car smell? That is chemicals. You do not want that. The new car smell is evil, okay? That's the kind of shit when people talk about avoiding chemicals, don't think about it in the specifics because there's just too many chemicals and you're not a chemist. You don't have time to test everything in your room. Just think of the most basic rules that you can implement right fucking now so that you don't have to think about it, okay? So what do? What I do is I walk into a house that I'm going to rent or live in and I smell. Do I smell paint? Do I smell chemical? Do I smell plastic? If I do, that's a bunch of bullshit going into my body. I'm not paranoid about it. If it's the cheapest price, if it's the only place available, I'm going to rent it anyway or live in there anyway. But if I have a choice, any chemical smell I'm going to avoid. Because I don't know what the fucking chemical is. I don't know the fucking name. I don't know the peer-reviewed study, but I know that chemicals are just generally not good for the body. You don't want a lot of chemicals. The less chemicals you have around you, the better. Okay, so you can see chemicals by smell. You can detect them by smell. So new car smell, bad. Paint smell, bad. Plastic smell, bad. Smell of cleaner, bad. These are the things these are chemicals, right? So what do? What do I do? Okay, first thing I do is when I wash clothes, instead of using, I read a study years ago about detergent. Detergent is all chemicals, by the way, basically. And how can you realistically lower? Think about it. Your skin is porous. You're putting chemicals into your clothes, which are going into your bloodstream, directly into your bloodstream. Your skin is porous. That means it has holes in it. It's like a fucking sponge. Okay, that's why when you put LSD on your forehead, you get high. It's because it goes through the skin, right? So you don't want to put chemicals on your skin. So how can you simply avoid chemicals in clothes? First thing you do is you can use less detergent. So there's been studies that basically washing machines are so good these days, you can use about 2/3 less detergent and your clothes are still clean. So instead of using a whole scooper, just use 1/3 a scoop of that. One, you're going to save money. Two, you're going to have less chemicals. Women love chemicals. Women are the main cause of cancer in my mind because women love chemicals. They love plastic things. They love cleaners. They love the smell of a clean house. The smell of a clean house is the smell of chemicals, right? Actually, a clean house has no smell at all because there's nothing there. There's nothing to smell. It's concrete. It's you know what I mean? It's a brick wall. There's no smell, right? Clean smell is chemical smell. So men like basic. So get soap with no smell. Get bar soap. It's cheap. Here's the thing. One, you can protect your health. Two, it's very simple. Three, you save a shit ton of money. Four, you don't waste any time thinking about shit, right? Okay, so what do? Use 1/3 of your of your clothes detergent. Use bar soap with no smell. Avoid smells in your house. So let's say that you start, you buy a window washer and it has a strong smell. You don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about that. Just say, hey, that's fucking chemicals. I don't want, Barona Man's right. I don't know what they are. I don't have fucking time. Fuck chemicals. I'm going to find a way to either wash the windows without chemicals or less chemicals, or I'm going to use water, or I'm just going to do something else. I'm going to find a way. Here's the thing, don't buy like the organic, clean, chemical-free shit, because that's going to be expensive. And also, I don't believe the makers of anything. If I haven't seen it made myself, I don't fucking believe them. So I don't believe these organic guys, because I've been to factories that are supposedly organic and they're not. I've been to farms that are supposedly organic and they're not. So what most people will tell you to avoid chemicals, buy chemical-free shit. A, you're going to bend over, take it in the ass. B, you're going to work all the time. C, you can't trust these motherfuckers. But what can you trust? You can trust your own eyes. You can trust your own nose. And that's good enough. That's all you need, is whatever you have on your body as a man is enough. So don't let people put smelly shit in your house. Don't put smelly shit in your car. If you can buy a used car without the new car smell, you're much better off, because that new car smell has already been, the chemicals have already, they're already gone. They're basically gone, right? There's not much left, right? Some things you have to just minimize. Other things you can totally delete, right? Other things you do have to get into the details. And sometimes a chemical is so dangerous that you actually need to think about that chemical, right? And that kind of thing, right? But with this Parkinson's, I would say you don't have a lot of time to worry about Parkinson's. You don't have a lot of time to worry about shit. So what can you do? Don't fucking buy carpet, right? Don't buy shoes that need polish. Get shoes with no polish. Get rid of fucking carpet. Don't get a fucking organic carpet bullshit. Just don't have fucking carpet. No carpet. Carpet is full of bacteria anyway. It's just a bunch of bullshit in there. And you're using bullshit chemicals to clean bullshit bacteria. It's like a net holding in the bacteria in your house. And your dogs, all the crap's going in your carpet. It's dust, mites, just bullshit. So think simple like a man. What do you want? I want a very simple floor that I can sweep and I can see and everything's fucking gone, and I don't need no chemicals to do that. I can usually use a wet rag. Like this floor here, I can use a wet rag. I don't need any soap at all. That's the other thing. Okay, people use soap these days and they use cleaners as if without even thinking about it. Like this floor here, people will put cleaners on this floor, even though there's no reason to put cleaners on this floor. Like, well, what are you cleaning? Are you doing surgery on the floor? Like, really, like the floor, as long as it looks fine, it's clean. That's it. It's tiles, it's wood. You don't need any cleaner, right? So just get a wet rag if you want to do it, or a mop. And then maybe once in a while you're going to spill something and you'll see it, and you might need a little comment, right? So go to the dollar store, get some fucking comment, and then you can use that once in a while. But you don't need to use it generally. And now in the shower, I'll use fucking comment. And then here's the thing. Here's what people do. They use way too strong things on things they don't need to, like the floor, right? And then they use way too weak things on things they need to clean. Like the shower is full of athlete's foot and all kinds of bullshit, which is not good. You don't want that, right? Because that gets into your toenails. Next thing you know, you have to go to the doctor, toenails removed, because you got athlete's foot that's so serious you can't get rid of it. No, you don't want athlete's foot. That's another thing. Okay, so what do you do in the shower? I'm going to use bleach, and I'm going to bleach. Bleach costs nothing. Okay, these days everything's being bastardized. It's hard to buy bleach anymore because everybody has color bleach and all this bullshit. Bleach has a certain smell. You want that smell, that really strong bleach smell. You want nothing in it, just like you want fucking soap with no smell and white, no colors. You want bleach that is really strong. So when you need something, bleach kills most fucking bacteria. It's amazing. Bleach is like super amazing. People don't like it because basically what people, here's what they do. They use two strong things they don't need, and they won't use the strong stuff. They're like, because they think, it's too inconvenient. It's not good for your skin. It smells bad. You need strong stuff, right? Sometimes. So what I do is I do the combination of nothing or very little and then nuclear stuff. So I'll have my bleach, right? I'll have my Comet, and the Comet is good because it's rough. It's like kind of that Comet, Comet, right? Yeah. It's like like there's different brands. I just call it all Comet. I don't know what the standard name is, but it's a cleaner that's kind of it's a little bit of a rough thing. If you don't like Comet, the other thing you can use laundry detergent for everything. So you can use laundry detergent for your driveway, for the oil stains. I use laundry detergent to clean my car. I use laundry detergent to clean the engine. I use laundry detergent to clean the floor if I have to. I use laundry detergent to clean any fucking thing that's hard to clean. I'm going to use laundry because it's rough. And anything that's not, polished or whatever, I want something rough because I want the least amount of chemicals, and I want to, the roughness, okay, that means you need less chemicals because you're doing it you're physically cleaning off whatever you want to clean off instead of using chemicals. The strength of chemicals, you're using the strength of abrasion, right, to clean it off, right? So what I would have in my house, bleach from the dollar store, Comet from the dollar store, pure simple soap with no flavoring from the dollar store, 3 for $1, right? And laundry detergent. Laundry detergent, I'm going to buy the cheapest one and the simplest one, and I'm going to use as little as possible. A, to save money. B, because you don't need to. It's not necessary. You're not doing surgery on your clothes. You're not doing surgery on your floor. You're not doing surgery on your garage floor. You're not doing surgery on your engine. There's no need for it to be perfectly sanitized, right? So that's the other thing. Get real about that shit. Okay, so the next thing. So this article here is great because when most people are going to read this whole thing, they're not going to read the study, right? They're not going to go to the study because that's too much work. And they're going to focus on this one chemical. So this is what they're going to talk about every day. Trichloroethylene, whatever, TC. And they're just going to be like focused on Parkinson's, focused on TC. You don't want to do that. You want to say, okay, chemicals bad, smell bad, get chemicals, all of them out of my house if I can. Okay, boom, done. That article, you don't really need to read the rest of it because here's the thing. You don't need to know many things to have a good life. You need to sidestep the dangers in life, okay? If you know, like, for example, one of the simple rules I use is after, let's say, 10 o'clock at night, out in the clubs, out in the bars, downtown, that's when most trouble happens. Police know that, whereas like people that are like lost in a dream world, they'll say, oh, it's the same. People that stay up all night, it's the same as people in the daytime. It's not the same. It's not the same statistically. If you want to avoid fights, if you want to avoid accidents, if you want to avoid getting killed, just don't go out at night. Now, of course, I'm not saying, me, I go out at night, but I realize that everything happens at night. Like most traffic accidents happen at night. And here's the thing, news articles, reporters are such idiots, they don't even report this stuff. They'll just say there was an accident on 3rd and 4th. They don't say like, fuck, there was another accident at 3 in the morning, 3rd and 4th. Last week there was one at 2 in the morning. 3 weeks ago there was one at 12. And then now there was one at 5 in the morning. Most accidents happen certain time of day, and because it's a number of statistics together. So rule, most fights happen at night. Most people die in accidents at night, right? So you just say, okay, I'm still going to go out at night, but only if there's something to do. If there's nothing to do, like if I'm totally happy and I'm just cruising and I'm just going to, I don't have no reason to do anything, I'm just going to remember that rule. And I'll say, you know what, I'll just stay home tonight. I already got my exercise, I already met my friends, I already did my thing. Maybe I'll go walking as the sun goes down. But after 10 o'clock, what the fuck am I doing out here anyway? You know what I mean? Like there's really nothing going on anyway. So at the same time is when you live by the right rules, 80% of the time, you can break all the rules 20% of the time. That's the other thing. So for me, because I eat good food 80% of the time, I can eat fucking ice cream 20% of the time. It doesn't even matter. I'm not going to do that, but I could because it doesn't even matter because I'm doing the right thing almost all the time. Okay, so most people are doing the wrong thing almost all the time, and then they do the right thing 20% of the time. And they buy the organic, and they buy the super powered, blueberry extract that's supposed to, give you an erection and cure cancer and, stop global warming. And then they wonder why everything's so expensive. They wonder why they're not so unhealthy. It's because they're not following the 80-20 rule, right? I'm not saying my rules are perfect. What I'm saying is life is a gamble. We didn't buy the earth from Walmart. There's no guarantee, no money back, right? You have to just pick the best rules you can, the simplest rules that can save as much time as possible, keep you as healthy as possible. And together, all those good rules, all those, I call them like the basic rules of physics, like the basic rules of physics for each area of your life. When you base your life on that, it allows you to do the right thing in so many areas of your life because you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about all those things, right? You know the basics. You know the basics of buying a good computer. You know the basics of keeping yourself healthy or keeping chemicals low in your body. You know the basics of exercise. You know the basics of the importance of social connections. You know the basics of finance, right? So you might not be an expert in every single cryptocurrency, but by understanding the basics, you really are better off than most people. You really are way better off, even experts, because people get so into the weeds. But if you want to be a broad person who travels and does a lot of shit, you just don't have time for getting into every single specific. So this is my way of not doing that, right? So avoid chemicals. There are certain specifics when you need to be specific. So I'm going to give you one right here for health. One time I found mold in my house in Shanghai. And I looked at the mold and it was deeply ingrained into the concrete. I guess there had been some kind of water in the concrete, and I needed to call in an expert for that because if you break it out yourself, the spores will go into my nose, and apparently, it's really dangerous. Like that mold is one of those things that is not one of the general rules. Mold is evil. You do not want any mold in your house. So, speaking of smells and simple rules, if you smell anything that's moldy, like that kind of green smell, that kind of like water smell, that is not good. It doesn't mean that it's mold, but it's just generally not good. So smells will lead you to a lot of health issues. Smells of chemicals, very obvious. We've already talked about that. Next thing is smells of, use your basic senses. Don't be a robot who just uses his brain. Your senses will lead you to, we talked about sensuality and the importance of that, but your senses, just smelling things, it's so important, right? It's very important to allow what nature gave you, God gave you, whatever, to guide your life. Don't ignore your basic senses. So your smell will guide you into your house, and you'll be like, Ronin man's right. I've been avoiding the smell. There's a smell in my house. I don't know what it is. I've been ignoring it forever. When I have a day off, I'm going to fucking figure that out. I'm going to get rid of it because there's something there. And these are the kind of lurking things that cause health problems. It's the lurking stuff, right? It's not one day. If you eat bacon one fucking day, you're not going to get enough nitrates to cause cancer, right? It's the lurking thing that you ignore. So it's like, I'll have I'll buy bacon today. Oh, I'll find a good deal at Walmart for bacon. Oh, I'll live near Walmart so I can buy bacon easy. And the next thing you know, you got huge things of bacon. And then it's very easy to eat a lot of bacon. Next thing you know, you're eating bacon a lot because you love bacon. And you're like, yeah, the nitrates, whatever, nitrates. And then eventually, I'll have some sausages. And then 20 years later, someone's like, well, you have cancer. And you're like, fuck. So you don't have to be a psycho about things. Okay, that's the other rule. Don't be a psycho. You can eat all the nitrates you want with your friends. You can even, you can fucking use a super strong cleaner in a very small room once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, don't be a psycho. You can drink from a plastic bottle where the plastic's leaching in the water, but don't do it every day. Don't do it every day. Don't make it a policy to ignore a smell. Don't make it a policy to ignore a warning about a food. use it as use nitrates. If you love bacon, eat bacon, okay, but use it as a special thing. So I'm gonna have bacon on a special day. So maybe Sunday, your day off. I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna buy enough bacon for one day. I'm gonna buy that bacon. I'm gonna cook that bacon, and I'm gonna eat that bacon, and then I'm gonna be done. I'm not gonna have bacon in my fucking fridge. So Monday morning, I get up and think, fuck it, I want bacon on Monday. You know what I mean? So that's another simple rule. Don't have stuff in your house that will cause you to need to have self-control, because nobody has self-control. We all don't have self-control. So a simple rule is enjoy the things that you know are bad for you. If you really like them, don't try to fight everything, right? Pick your battles, but then just make it easy on yourself. Don't have it laying around. Like for me, chocolate ice cream is like that. I don't have any special, I'm not Superman. If I got chocolate ice cream every day, let's say really good chocolate ice cream in my fridge, like Ben and Jerry's, anybody who knows me well knows I'm not going to fucking be able to avoid that. Every day I'm going to be like, fuck it, I'm going to have some ice cream. And also because I don't think in the box, I might have it before breakfast because like most people, they're like robots. They only eat ice cream after dinner, right? Or, certain times of the day. Because I don't have those rules for myself, that can be negative for me too, because if I have ice cream around and there's nobody else, like I don't follow the rules of society really, I'm just on my own thinking about things. And then I'm thinking, well, what's the fucking difference, right? Eat it in the morning, eat it at night, same thing. I know that eating it before food is different because it hits your bloodstream sooner and quicker, and I understand that. But besides that, it's not that different. So eating ice cream, right? So I'm like, fuck it, I'll have it in the morning. Then I have it in the morning, then it's easy to have it later in the afternoon and then eat it at night. So fuck it, no ice cream. So I can have my weakness, but it doesn't affect my life, right? Because it's just a special thing. So that's how you read that article. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to this article. Okay, carcinogen found in some sunscreens and sun products, including this Neutrogena. Now, I use sunscreen every day, okay? Because I read years ago, I grew up on the beach, and a lot of my friends got skin cancer. So, I was trained lifeguard. I love the beach. I grew up in the water. I grew up in the sun. Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, California, everywhere I lived growing up, was baking hot sun. Going to Mexico, everything was baking hot sun. So I was in the sun. So I knew that sunscreen, as soon as it was invented, because we didn't have it when I was a kid. All we had was that white stuff you put on your nose. I forget what it was, like zinc oxide. Before sunscreen, there was something called zinc oxide. And that was the only thing we had, and you could only put on your nose pretty much because it was like really oily and really bad. It was like putting like oil from your car on your face. It was evil. It was terrible. But it did block the sun. It blocked the sun very well. So you'd put it on your nose if you're surfing for like 3 hours, every afternoon. Otherwise, your nose would just fall off by the end of summer, right? So you had to put that on. So when sunscreen came out, I read a study that said that, and it made sense to me. If you look up, here's another simple rule. Look in the sky, there's a sun. That sun, those rays cause cancer when they hit you too much. At the same time, they create vitamin D using your skin. It's not all bad. Okay, but too much of that shit is going to cause cancer. Now, here's a simple way I look at it. Okay, so people will say, well, it's cloudy today. I'm not going to wear sunscreen. I have never read a study about this, but I think they're fucking idiots. Okay, if I had a nuclear reactor and there was a cloud between me and the nuclear reactor, how much is that going to protect me? If you're in Fukushima and there's like a clouds in between you and the reactor, how much are you going to protect? You're not going to be protected, right? The sun is a nuclear fire. It's nuclear fusion. Okay, it's a big barbecue of nuclear energy, right? Now, how much is that cloud going to protect you? Don't trust memes. Use your own brain sometimes. You don't have time to read every fucking study, but you can use your brain. So you can say, you know what? I'm not going to believe that one. Even if no one's really done a study yet and there's no research about it, I'm going to draw a line in the sand on this one. And I did. I said, I believe, and I don't know if it's true, you guys can check this one out. But when I was a kid, I thought to myself, I looked up at the clouds, I said, they're not very strong. Those motherfuckers, those rays are going to come through that. And I would get a sunburn sometimes with clouds. So I was like, no, you can still get a sunburn. And actually, it's hard to get a suntan through the clouds, but you can get a sunburn. So that's what happens is the bad rays come through the clouds, but the good rays don't. Okay, so basically, cloudy days, you need sunscreen, I believe. Okay, so what I do is let's make a simple fucking rule. Every fucking morning before I go out, I put on sunscreen. In the middle of winter in Tokyo, I put on sunscreen. Okay, so that's my rule. Now, unless I don't go out, like if I'm indoor all day, I have to work, I can't go out, I'm going to be in my car, I'm going to be indoors all day, and I'm only going to be outdoor for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then once in a while, I won't put it on. But basically, as a rule, simple rule. Soap with no colors, soap with no flavor. Another rule, sunscreen. So I wake up. Also, chicks like guys that look young and healthy. You don't want to look like a fucking lizard, okay? You don't want to look like a fucking, what is that called? Turkey neck, right? You don't want turkey neck and shit like that, right? So turkey neck comes from being all fucked up, and that comes from sun damage. So don't be turkey neck fucked up dude. So how do you stop that? Sunscreen. Okay, so I put on sunscreen. Now I know, see the thing is, here's where I break my rule. Sunscreen is all chemicals. And I'm putting it on my skin, and it's going through all 7 layers of my skin. Because if you only put it on the top and you go out in the sun, you're going to get a sunburn. You have to wait 15 minutes for it to soak into the other layers of skin in order to protect your skin, right? So I know it's going to my blood, and I know there's chemicals in it. So what do I do with this one? This one, I kind of ignore it. I basically ignore it. I say, okay, logically, I know there's different sunscreens that are good and bad, but because I travel so much and I go to different countries a lot, the brands that are available here are not available there. So I can't use a simple rule. Like if you live in America, for example, and you live next to a Walmart, I think it's worth your time to do some research on the good sunscreen products and get the good ones. I can't remember the name of the one I found to be the very best, but I actually, you know what? It's so good. I think it's so important. I believe sunscreen is very important. I'm going to put the name below. I'll find it. I'll put it below. There might be better research. If you guys can find a better one, put it there. I'm looking for the best sunscreen that cuts out the bad rays and doesn't feel like shit, lasts a long time, and doesn't cost an arm and a leg, right? I want the cheapest good sunscreen. So when I was in Australia, I bought this huge fucking tank of sunscreen that was approved by the Australian Lifeguard Association. And it was by chance, because it was kind of not a for-profit company type thing. It was the cheapest too. And okay, when you look for sunscreen, look at the stuff on the bottom rack. Don't get the stuff that's paying the most money to be on the rack that's eye level. If you know anything about marketing, those guys are basically paying bribes, essentially, to get their stuff on eye level. That's the stuff that's going to be the most profitable. Generally, the most profitable stuff tends to be the stuff that's ripping you off. So the cheap stuff, most of the products I buy are on the bottom rack. You have to look way the fuck down in Walmart. It's not the ones at eye level. The ones, the cheapest stuff is the best deal stuff, the stuff with no chemicals, the stuff with no food coloring, the most rough oatmeal, the most rough soap, the most rough whatever the fuck is going to be the stuff that is not on eye level because it's not profitable. You can't patent a fucking tomato. You can't patent bananas. So that's why those brands, or not brands, those brands that do patent it, right? They do a GMO, whatever. They're going to be the ones that can pay, the Dole bananas, right? So as a general rule, look for stuff on the bottom, look for stuff with no chemicals in it. And again, you win 100 ways when you do this way because shit's cheaper. It's way fucking cheaper. All those chemicals add money, right? So I'd say this is important. So let's look through this one. I haven't read this yet. Benzene. Okay, I know benzene's like fucking evil. So banana boat, CVS, those ones don't sound good. So you want to look for, I would say benzene. Benzene is a pretty bad chemical. Do you guys know about benzene? Benzene is one of those chemicals that a little light should go off. Like, you really don't want benzene in your blood. Yeah, it's leukemia. Oh, blood cancer. Perfect. Okay, just like I said in the beginning, certain things you want to avoid. Blood cancer is one of them. Blood cancer, Parkinson's, bone cancer. The reason why these are so bad in neurological disorders is because there are some of these, you know when your car is so fucked up that you can't fix it, and like you think something's wrong with it, and then you put in a new transmission, and the car is just still a fucking piece of shit, and then you put a new fucking engine in, it's still a pile of shit, and then you realize the whole car is just junk, right? That's what happens. That's what happens to your body with leukemia. Basically, your whole body becomes a pile of junk with blood cancer, leukemia, Parkinson's. You do not want these kind of problems, right? You don't mind if a window doesn't roll down, right? You don't mind if it needs, like for example, new tires, but you don't want leukemia in your car, right? So avoid these kind of things that cause these kind of things. So these kind of things I would take a little time to research. So I'd say benzene. So let's see what do they come? So avoid. You might want to kind of just glance through for benzene. The reason why is because you're creating a rule. You're creating a rule of physics for yourself. So don't buy sunscreen with benzene in it. And the way you do that is find a brand that doesn't have it. So you don't have to only one time you have to read all the ingredients. The rest of the time it's going to be simple because you're going to know that certain brands have it, certain brands don't, right? So they found, here you can read this for yourself, Neutrogena, Sunbum, CVS, Fruit of the Earth, they have benzene. Okay, fuck that. They have a lot of benzene, blah, blah, blah. Benzene, they actually don't mention brands that don't have it. That is interesting. Let's see. That is interesting. Banana boats got it. So avoid that. Now again, here's the thing. Is banana boat might have some brands or some lines of their stuff that don't have benzene, right? I don't know, but they might. But you want to make the easiest rules so that again, you want these rules of physics. When you're shopping, you're like a robot. You're like, possible benzene contamination, and then you're like, good brand, and then like no chemicals, these kind of simple, I'll be back, kind of fuck you asshole, these type of rules, right? Right? You want the fuck you asshole when you see the chemicals, right? So when you see something that might have benzene in it, the brand, you just kind of like that kind of robotic voice comes up. Avoid that, right? Don't take time. Once you've learned something, don't just keep reading and wasting time. It's like, maybe banana boat is going to be bought by somebody and they're going to change it and everything's going to be fine. And you can wait for like 5 years after that happens to figure it out. Don't be a psycho about shit. Just go with the basic rules. Maybe it's 20% more for some other brand. Big fucking deal. Again, you're saving so much money in your life because you're not wasting time buying women, all kinds of fucking hyperbolic chambers and bullshit. So, you don't need organic bones for your dogs. You don't need somebody slave driving you and fucking, you're not getting divorce rape every week. So you do have a little bit of leeway there. And also you're not a robot. Just following these rules, you're going to save another 20% of your daily expenses. Because you'll find many, many things you can, these rules can go to many, many things. Like if you got a plant outside that you find yourself cutting all the time, just one day you can look outside and look at that plant and go, fuck you, asshole. And then just get get a flamethrower and get rid of that fucking plant. Because do you really need that goddamn plant? Fuck that plant. It must be destroyed, right? So next, that plant is now gone. Everybody says, oh, you need that plant. Well, you don't need that plant, right? Fuck that plant, right? So next, okay. So now your weekends are free, right? There's so many things in your life you're not even thinking about. You're like, I have to do a cleaning, but it's all one thing. It's all the same fucking thing, right? It's only one thing you really need to clean. That might be the sink. That might be your showers. And, maybe the toilet. The reason why you clean your toilet is basically because people come over. It really doesn't cause any major problems. A dirty toilet looks like shit. You might do it just because you don't like the look of it, which is fine, which I appreciate that. There's nothing wrong with, not looking like a fucking bachelor all the time, right? Clean out the old toilet, have a little, no soap or anything, but you got your little scraper thing, whatever, that little brush thing, right? Just the skid marks, just clean those off. You can do that. But essentially, there's no real reason. There's no deep reason. There's no law of physics for that one. Basically, having skid marks in your toilet doesn't really matter. But I personally will get rid of the skid marks just because they do look terrible. They look like shit, right? So you might, they are shit, right? So, and they look like shit. Some things are shit, and they don't look like shit, right? Some girlfriends, right? But they look great, but they're actually in your life, same kind of thing, right? So simple rule, is there any brands? Oh, here we go. They got a list of fucking sunscreens that were tested by Velocity and found not to contain benzene. Here we go. Here's the brands, right? Here's the thing. So what I would do, these ones, again, I wear sunscreen all the time. This is worth my time. I'm going to actually maybe take a picture of this on my phone when I go out shopping. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but as I go to different stores, I'm going to check where they have these brands, and I'm going to look at the cheap stores too, even the dollar store. Sometimes, it's crazy. You think not having benzene or whatever is going to be expensive. They might have it in the fucking dollar store. Like they literally might have a non-cancer causing sunscreen in the dollar store. Probably not, but you never know. So I would always look, because if they do, jackpot, gold mine, now you got your fucking benzene-free shit in the fucking dollar store. I go buy like tons of them and I throw them, not too many because it gets old after a while, but now I know I just, back the truck up, fucking fill it full of shit, go home, right? Sometimes life is simple, right? Like you can get the best water, in my mind, following the laws of physics, from the tap. I don't buy bottled water unless I'm in Thailand where you can't drink it from the tap, really, not safely. So I'll just drink water. That's another rule. Don't buy bottled water, drink from the tap. When I go to the public bathroom, I drink from the tap, right? I use my hands because they're always going to try to stop me from doing that. So they're going to have a button. They're not going to have a drinking fountain. I'm going to use my hands. Because of COVID, they have to let you wash your hands. I always have water. I'm going to like a psycho look for bathrooms where I can drink water instead of wasting $5 a day on water. Plus, I don't get the plastic from the bottle, right? That's another simple rule. Drink from the tap. Done. Don't read these fucking crazy studies of conspiracy theorists about water not being safe. Water is safe. Water is great. Most people do not drink enough water. The main problem in your life is not too much water. It's too little. When you wake up, here's a general rule. When you wake up in the morning, you are dehydrated. Get up in the morning, get a big glass, go to the fucking tap, drink like massive amount of water, and then piss it out, and that will start your day off right. Because don't eat a lot of food, because here's another simple law of physics. Just consider the basics. Okay, think of your stomach. It's like a little balloon. In your little balloon, you're going to put things, okay? And those things need to be broken down because that balloon is going to, shit that goes in there has to go into the lining, okay? There's no exit, right, basically. Most of it has to go, most of the good stuff has to go into your blood, into your body, right? It doesn't get shit out. So what do? What you do is you want stuff to go into that little balloon, your stomach, right? And then you want that stuff to go into your bloodstream, right? So how do you do that? Let's say that you eat food and then you drink a lot of water. Okay, you got your balloon, right? You have a little bit of food, imagine 10% food. Now you got 90% water. So how much acid? Acid, if you look at your battery, okay, your stomach is tough. Just use simple rules. Think of a car, think of easy ideas, right? Your stomach is tough. It has stomach acids. But just think about it logically. Do you want too many stomach acids? is your stomach infallible? Is your stomach indestructible? No. Your stomach, like everything, is built just to withstand what it needs to withstand. Everything is like that, right? You can make a super strong tire, but then it won't be grippy, right? You can make a super grippy tire, but then it's going to wear out fast, right? There's always like compromises. So your stomach's like that too. So do you want to force your stomach to release tons and tons of acid every time you eat food? No. So I never drink with food. Don't drink with food. Okay, my grandfather, I learned this from a retarded person, right? A person with Down syndrome. Very, very serious Down syndrome. He would rock in the corner, and I use that word, look, shoot me, whatever. In my age, my era, we used to use that word. I like this guy, so you're going to see that. People are such idiots these days. They cannot separate. Listen to me carefully. I used that word, retarded, right? Didn't I? Yeah? And some people would say, that's discriminatory. Now listen to the rest of what I'm saying. I, as an intelligent person, studied and learned from a guy who I consider to be retarded, Down syndrome. He was the kind of guy, my grandfather adopted him as kind of a service to humanity and took care of him until he died, until my grandfather died. And he would come to our house. Okay, now, instead of like most people just ignored him, most people thought he was a freak. I watched him and actually learned from him. Okay, what did I learn? He was great to watch because when you watch somebody who has no social awareness at all, you realize they're not doing anything to fake you out. He could not fake you out. His name was Johnny. Johnny had no ability to lie to you. Johnny could not lie. It was impossible for him to lie. And he just did whatever he wanted to do. And he did whatever he thought was he wanted. So for example, he would walk by my neighbor's house, look in the window, and see a television. And then he would open the door to our neighbor's house, go in, turn on the television, watch TV. And so our neighbor almost shot him because he's a big guy too, he's like 6'4". He won a bunch of gold medals in the Special Olympics. So he was really athletic. Like in sprinting and everything, right? So Johnny would see a TV and he'd be like, God damn, I want to watch TV. So the door, check it, it's open. He'd go into someone's house, start watching TV. That was amazing. So watching him was very interesting for me because I knew I could see myself in him too. Like he thought so simply, right? TV, watch, right? He didn't think like private ownership laws, security. He didn't think about that. He just thought simple, right? Now, Johnny, when he ate, was very interesting. So Johnny, he told me things that I found out before research told me. So Johnny, when he ate, would never drink. Johnny would eat food first. And then when he was done eating, he would wait and then he would grab a huge glass of milk and drink the whole fucking thing. And I was like, that is very interesting because every normal person, whatever you call it, normal, they would eat and sip and eat and sip and eat and sip. Johnny would never do that. So what did I learn from Johnny? I didn't really know what I learned from Johnny. But I thought to myself, you know what? When I eat like Johnny does, I feel better. Okay? This is the rabbit hole of learning the basic laws of physics. So the things I pass on to you took me a long time and a lot of thinking to learn. Okay? And then they were proven by science later. Okay? Because science hadn't proved this one, or I had no access to the data. So I said, you know what? When I eat food, and then I wait a while, and then drink liquid like Johnny does, I feel better. Holy shit. I just feel better. I don't feel as tired after eating. I just feel fucking better. So I just started doing that in my life. I would eat. Okay, now I do something else. I drink water before I eat. So let's say 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, I'll drink a bunch of water, and then that water quickly goes through my stomach. So now my stomach, the balloon, is empty. So now, but I kind of woke up my digestive system by putting stuff through it, right? Then I put a bunch of food in it. So think about it. The balloon only has to inject so much acid as filling that small balloon of food. Okay, so I'm using the laws of physics here. I'm using the laws of conservation. I'm causing my body to make less acid. I'm causing the stomach lining to be burned by less acid. And I'm digesting food faster because I'm eating the food, I'm injecting the minimum amount of acid. I wait till that's digested out of my body, and then I'm drinking water. And I thought, I just feel better. Now there's research. You can read about it. The more liquid you drink with your food, the more acid goes in there, and that just causes a lot of goddamn problems. And do you want a bunch of health problems for no reason? Not really, right? So don't drink a bunch of fucking liquid with your food. Eat your food, let it digest, drink liquid later. There's another simple law of physics. You'll avoid a lot of problems and you'll live longer. The way that my life works, a lot of things that people call me simple-minded. They'll say he doesn't really know what he's doing. He doesn't really know why he's doing it. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm healthy for a long time without knowing. Because I don't really want to know about health. I don't really care about health. What I want to do is not die. Okay, I don't want to die. I don't want to be all fucked up. I don't want to have a shitty life, right? So how do I not do that? That's by being healthy, right? How do I be healthy when there's all these risks in life and I want to calculate all those and everybody's so specialized? Okay, here's another rule. Look at people. They're old, they look like shit. So no matter how smart they say they are they really fucking smart? No, they're fucking idiots. That's my way I look at it. Because they're not healthy. They can talk about intellectual, knowing the rules of this and that, but I'm fucking healthy and I don't have to think about it. That's the way you want to be. And you have limited resources. Focus your intelligence on things that matter in your life, right? Try to knock out as many things you can with these simple rules so that when you really do want to clean something up, when you really want to focus on something, you want to invent something new, you want to do something great, you have the leftover energy, right? Or just you have an easy life because these simple rules will just cut out a lot of bullshit, right? So this is what I do. I'd read once in a while. I will read the specifics. I will read this benzene. I will read the companies that don't have it. I will one time or two times go to the store, read all the ingredients, or even take a picture of them and later on read the things. And I'll say, you know what? This brand, which they don't mention, doesn't have benzene. It is cheap. I have it nearby. My new rule is buy that brand. I'm not going to go back to the brand and read every brand, every type they have. I'm not going to again, simple rule. That brand doesn't have benzene in any products right now. Probably this brand's against benzene. They don't like to put benzene in there. They found another chemical, whatever the fuck they did. Yep, done. Now, you can avoid all this by wearing caps. So instead of sunscreen, you can wear a hat, right? That you can wear clothing that blocks the sun. Some clothing is UV protective, some isn't. So that's another thing you can do. You can be a hat guy. That's the best way. I don't like hats, so I'm not gonna wear a hat. I like to fucking get a tan. I think hats look dorky. In general, what other people think doesn't matter. But in this case, I like to bone chicks. I like to be relevant in life. I care a little bit I care what I look a bit like because it affects how people judge me. It affects my life. And also, I want to look good, just in general. Even if it just attracts flamers, I don't care. I like to look good. Okay, that's another thing. So you have your preferences. I don't want to look like a sack of potatoes. I don't want to look like a fucking out-of-date, fucking, meaningless guy on the side of the road, right? Like the scrap heap of life. I don't want to be there. I want to be in the stream of life. So I don't want the same sense that I don't want to waste time thinking about everything. I also care about what I look like. And a lot of guys don't like to admit this. But if you care about how you look, just admit it, get it out of the fucking way. Like don't spend a lot of time lying to yourself on this one. If you want to if you care about what you look like, if you send a chick a dick pic or whatever, and you look at yourself naked, and your dick looks good, you look good, be proud of that. That's fucking nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Maybe there's something good about that. That you feel fucking good about yourself, right? It gives you confidence. It gives you whatever. You sit up straighter. Your life, you feel more meaning, whatever the fuck it is. Don't worry about it. Some things are logical. Some things are laws of physics. Some things are preferences. Some things are illogical but important, right? And I personally would say looking good is one of those ones. It has a lot of effect on your life, believe it or not. Looking good is a big deal, right? So that's partly why I don't want turkey neck. So be a little bit vain. Allow yourself to be vain would be my rule. Okay, fuck these guys that are in the mountains. They're like the mountain man. I take care of myself. I do everything myself. All these pussies care about what they look like. They're fucking idiots. No. The truth is those guys usually care, but they're just idiots about caring. Like they might spend, I knew a guy that spent like $300 on hats. He had like very expensive clothes, but they looked like they got him from the fishing store. Like he actually spent a lot of money on clothes. And he would tell you that he doesn't care how he looks like, but he would spend all this money on what he thought looked good. But he was such a moron, he could not see that he looked like a fucking idiot, right? So don't be a fucking idiot. Look good. Be a stud. Look like a fucking stud. When you look like a stud, you're going to be attractive to everybody. So don't worry if you're attracting people that you don't want. That doesn't matter. Take it as a compliment. I take it as a compliment. If people that I don't want to attract are attracted by me, don't be like a chick. A chick will be like, I only want to attract the guys I want to attract, and anybody else, I'm going to file false allegations against them. And a lot of men are kind of the same way. They're like, they don't want to be attracted by gay guys. Look, if you're going to look good, you're going to attract fucking gay guys. So attract a lot of fucking gay guys. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to look good, you're going to attract people who like who you are. And just embrace that. You can't, there's no way to screen this shit out, right? Be the guy that will attract that and also attract chicks. It doesn't matter if you want to fuck them or not. It feels good just to be relevant in life. Even if every chick just thinks you're hot, but you never fuck any girls because you're a monk or whatever. Who cares? Walk down the street and feel good, man. Feel good. Feel like a stud. Fucking peacock out there, man. Enjoy your life, right? What you do with that is another thing, right? Let people enjoy how you look, right? So find things that look good on you. Keep yourself in shape. Don't have turkey neck. Don't wear, although you want to avoid chemicals and you want to avoid the sun, don't be the guy that looks like he's wearing a burqa when he goes out. You know what I mean? I would say that is too much. Now other guys in this podcast might disagree with me, and I totally respect that. I understand we all have different judgments on these things. I'm just telling you, my part of that is I understand that a hat is better than sunscreen, because the reflection of the sun is not enough to really cause cancer. It's the direct sun's rays. They're going to generally cause cancer. So a big straw hat, a very thick coat, gloves, fishing boots, a hat that has in Japan they have these hats with these tails on them that cover your neck, like a gardener's hat. That's going to be the best thing as far as skin cancer and also the least amount of chemicals. But again, I might do that in my garden, but I probably wouldn't even do it in my garden because maybe I'm going to fuck the girl next door. She's going to look over the wall, and that's the truth. Again, I want to look good. I'm going to tell you the truth. At the same time, avoid chemicals. At the same time, have friends. At the same time, save money. Everything. Down to a science. But the laws of physics included with what you care about. So if you like a certain thing in your life, do not ignore it. Do not ignore it. Let yourself have your own quirks, right? That's an important thing. Because if you don't let yourself have your own quirks, life is going to have no flavor, right? You have to be able to let yourself enjoy some things. So for me, part of it is looking good. I'm going to allow myself that luxury. But looking good is mainly about working out. That's the main thing. So I don't need to spend any money on that because I can do that with my once a week workout. So again, I don't really have to think about it much. But again, I'm going to admit it to myself. Okay. Next, let's go to the next thing. I'm just going to end this pretty quickly. Okay. How to read articles. Here's one about alcohol, America's drink problem, blah, blah, blah. Now, what I'm going to do with an article like this, lots of bullshit on the internet. So I'm going to look down this article. Okay. I'm going to try to find a study that's going to give me some kind of, is this based on bullshit or is this based on science? I'm going to look through. Now, I already did this. I already read this one this morning. So this one I read. Actually, there is an article. I don't know where the fuck it is. There's a link to a scientific article, which I read, which was good. And if I can't find it, I can't find it. Let's see here. But again, I'm going to quickly scan. I'm going to say, okay, big, long article. Is it based on anything real? Yes, it is. Is it not? Okay, it's not. Fuck it. Let's see here. Is that research? Here we go. I had actually highlighted it. So alcohol makes you more social. And the health toll, according to this article here, which is a peer-reviewed journal, and again, peer-reviewed journals, pretty damn reliable. Again, basic rules. There's going to be that one peer-reviewed journal in history that everybody was bribed. Fuck that. Don't waste time on that. Peer-reviewed journal, good. Famous university, good. Research from a good university like Cambridge, going to be better in general, again, basic rules, than some junior college somewhere in Africa, right? In general. Less chance of bribing, more chance things are true. Again, basic rules. You're going to find things that are not true using these rules, but you're just using the broad strokes so that your life can be smooth and you're going to hit the 80% of the mark. It's all you want to do, hit 80%, and you're good, right? And you move on. So this is a good study. What is the findings? What are the findings? The findings are reviewed here in this mass media thing. So basically, social disconnection is estimated to cause you the same damage to your physical body as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So what are my rules? I posted in Ronin already. Make friends, be social, don't isolate. And then you won't have that health toll of 15 cigarettes a day. Now, whether it's 13 cigarettes a day, 10 cigarettes a day, if it's even equivalent cigarettes and social, they use cigarettes for a reason though. Cigarettes they cause you to die. Social disconnection causes you to die. Cause you to be lonely, which causes, I've already read plenty of studies in the past on this. Loneliness is devastating. It is very, very bad for your long-term health. Me and Nelson are hanging out. This is much better than us being single, alone. We're hanging out right now. Physically, we don't feel it. Just the two of us being here, me and Chime Time. You working. You're alone in a lighthouse. This is going to be very unhealthy long term. Having another guy there, even if you don't like the guy, you're with somebody. That, and having more, obviously, good social interactions, even better. But so simple rule, make sure you don't isolate. So, as you go through your day, if you're working from home, Steve we hung out with, he works online. I would say my advice to Steve would be to be careful. Just be careful. Just look at your days. How many days do you, morning to night, not meet any real people? How many days a month? How many hours a day? Just kind of keep track of it. At the end of the month, reevaluate and say, you know what? Maybe I got to do something to be social. So, for example, you might join a yoga class that you go to 5 days a week. And when you get there, there's a lot of people. You talk before you go to the class. You talk afterwards. That might be enough for you. You might go to any kind of social group. So, I found 12-step groups. They're free, dollar donation, whatever the fuck. They're awesome for social interactions, right? So that's one thing. You might have a runner's group. Laws of physics, simple rule. Social isolation bad. Solving it good. Simple fixes don't work. So 4th of July party is not going to give you socialness because that's only once a year. I want something that's just like law of physics, easy, gonna solve this social problem. Now it's solved. I'm meeting people. I'm done, right? The drinking thing, that's another issue. But inside the drinking article, that's what I got out of it. Is make sure that you're fit. You're social. Some guys are very social. They don't need to worry about it. Other guys used to be social and now they're not. Those guys are the most danger because they feel like they are social. But if they look realistically at their life now, maybe they were social when they used to work in the military. They used to be social when they were in college, but now it's dropped off. Reevaluate. Did you used to fuck a lot of girls and now you don't? Admit it. You're now in a different state. You're not social anymore. You're not hanging out with friends anymore. You're not in that company anymore. You're not working in the office anymore. Again, reevaluate laws of physics, solve the problem very simply. Again, here's the research, which again, if this article in mainstream media has no connected research article, it's probably just some SJW talking shit. Now, once in a while, you're going to have someone like me who cares about the truth, who looks around, who doesn't have any quotations to anything, but has actually discovered something on their own. So some of the time, you do want to take, Heart Attack Serious, an article with no links. Because you're going to say, is this person the type of person that is doing their own research? Yesterday night, we walked by a boat. Nelson looked at it. He actually figured out it was Blue Origin's rocket landing boat. Nelson's the kind of guy who does his own research. He doesn't just walk by a fucking boat. He's looking at it, he's thinking, he looked at it online, and we discovered something that wasn't. Most people, if there's not a plaque telling them something, if there's not a plaque telling them it's a beautiful garden, they don't even notice. And then they read there's a beautiful garden, they're like, look kids, how beautiful this garden is. They just read it in the little plaque. Nelson's not like that. So if you're reading a blog, watching a video from the type of person that does their own research, and that research is accurate, and that research leads you to find new things, then maybe you do want to listen to their stuff anyway, even if there's no. But most people are not like that. Most SJWs have some kind of fucking idea in their mind, and they're just peddling it off to you, and they're just fucking writing an article. It's just a rehash, or they read a few blogs. They're not an SJW, but they read a few blogs. They're just repeating a meme. This is what a lot of the guys in MGTOW do. They just read something and they just repeat it over and over. They're not doing their own research. They're not thinking about it on their own. They're just venting the same idea over and over, right? No. Then you want to look for what is the research behind it. Is this guy, does he have the horsepower to come up with new ideas all the time? Because some people, they'll have a good idea, but they're a one-trick pony. They've got one good idea. They don't have any more. So stop listening to them. Reevaluate. Did I learn everything I had to learn from this guy? Is there nothing else to learn? Move on. Your time is valuable. I want Ronin Man to always be packed with value. And the minute I don't have anything to say, I'm going to stop making Ronin Man. The only reason why I keep making it is I keep finding important things that I want to pass on. I keep discovering new things. People tell me new things. I put new things together. And as long as I'm in this groove where valuable information is coming down the pike, I'm going to make Ronin Man. And the minute that stops happening, I'm going to stop making it. So my promise to you is you can click on any Ronin Man video, regardless of the title, and just watch that motherfucker, and you're going to learn something. It's going to be valuable information. And even if you already knew that from some other source, you're going to say at the end of the day, that was valuable information. Like, I'm glad, even though I knew that, now reinforce that, right? Sometimes you need to reinforce, right? I didn't listen to Chinese one time, and then I speak Chinese. I had to listen to it over and over. So there is value in repetition. But there's not value, there's more value in deep dive, brainstorming, pushing forward, science moving ahead type idea, right? Constant new research. There's more value in that than repeating research that was published a long time ago. There's more value in some guy saying, some new kid on the block is like, fuck Einstein. I think he's wrong. I'm going to prove him wrong. And then he tries to prove those specific, and a lot of things that Einstein said are already proven wrong. He was especially wrong in quantum physics. But people had the balls to not trust that research, even though it was extremely genius and valuable at the time. They didn't take it whole. And that's what I want you to do with Ronin Man. I believe a lot of this shit is very valuable. But I'm not saying everything is valuable. And I don't want a bunch of fucking yes men. I want a bunch of partners in crime. We're figuring shit out. No one's blaming anybody. Nobody's calling each other names. We're like this research team. One guy finds something. He passes on the next guy. He comments, intelligent comment. He's read the other comments. He's listened to the whole video. He thought about it. He had nothing to say. He didn't comment, right? Because he had nothing to say except for, God damn, that was great. Or that hit me in this way, right? Now another guy's going to listen. He's going to be like, I got something to add. I got a shade of gray I'm going to add to this. In this situation, it's worth thinking about because of X, Y, Z. In the previous article's case was benzene. So in that case, generally, I'm going to avoid chemicals. Again, sunscreen. Again, some sunscreens are not safe. Benzene is worth researching. Avoid benzene. Boom, done. If you can only get benzene, another basic rule of physics, use it anyway. Because you don't want to get skin cancer, turkey neck. And then as soon as you can, stop using the benzene stuff, right? So that would be my other rule. Don't be a psycho. That's a general rule. Don't be a psycho and fuck you, asshole. Fuck you, asshole. That's another rule I have. It's like, just look around your house, fuck you, asshole. Fuck you, asshole. Anything in your life that is just wasting your time, just do that. Get it out of here, right? And that will save you a lot of time. Put some humor. Next thing, I'm just going to quickly do on this one, sperm count crisis. Doesn't add up. Just kind of give you my thinking on this. I haven't even fully read this article, so I'm not going to go in depth on it. But what I'd say is, look at these kind of things from above. Nobody talked about sperm count. Suddenly, everybody started talking about sperm count. Every article is about sperm count. Even in the MGTOW stuff, everybody's talking about sperm count. A lot of guys. I don't buy it so easily. Sometimes new research shows you things they didn't see before, and that's good. Other times, human beings are such fucking robots. They just repeat memes over and over and over. I've never chemically, biologically analyzed. I've never gone to a sperm bank, blown my wad in a fucking vial, tested it for heavy metals and everything, and for live sperm. I've never done that. So I don't really know if that's real. And I get tired of everybody repeating the same shit. Now, I could be wrong. Sperm count could be very real. And one of you guys could post something, and believe me, I would love that. But until that happens, I'm not completely believing this sperm count meme, even no matter how many articles are out there. Or even if I partly believe it. Here's why I partly believe it. Here's why I don't. Simple rules. Everybody's fat as fuck these days. Okay, when you're fat as fuck, okay, the chemical factory in your body is not working right. Okay? When the chemical factory is not working right, it's going to fuck up everything. Everything's going to be fucked up in your body. Simple rule. Be ripped, be in good shape, and you'll just solve 90% of your health problems. Right? So, my guess, sperm count is going down because people that are super fat, right, their dicks don't get as hard either, right? Because the blood can't go there as easily, right? Also, their belly stops their dick from fully going in to the chick. Okay, if you want to blow your wad, the reason why nature is so, evolutionary biology and all parts of nature are so complicated is because of evolution, right? Her body doesn't want to accept your sperm because her body cannot read a contract. Her body doesn't know you're married. All her body knows is there's a lot of men in the world and some of them make better babies than others. So her body's like, don't let in the sperm if it doesn't fully shoot up way in the fucking cervix, right? Whatever. Go way the fuck up there. Whatever the fuck it's called, doesn't matter. Go shoot the fucking thing like a volcano inside there. If it doesn't shoot up in there, her body says that might not be healthy sperm. I better not use that to make a baby. I better wait until there's another guy who blows it in there and then gets it right in the right spot, sweet spot baby, right? So if you got a huge belly, you probably can't drive it in there as fucking far as a skinny guy, right? If your body is full of chemicals because you didn't listen to Ronin Man, and every fucking cleaner and every fucking smell, your clothes smell like chemicals. You use tons of soap and there's like everything you clean is with like nuclear cleaner. And when you finish cleaning, the only thing you know, because you're such a fucking moron, is that it smells like chemicals and you're like, that's clean. That's all you know. That is so retarded. That is so lame. I cannot even fucking believe it because clean things have no smell. They just don't, you know. But clean is the lack of things, right? It's not extra things, right? It's a lack of things, right? So anyway, so if you're brainwashed into thinking that Pine Sol smell is clean, okay, you know, you need that minty smell. So not only is it a lot of chemicals, they add other chemicals to give you the chemical smell that will give you the feeling that this is good. I smell lots of chemicals. This is healthy. I am now clean. You know, it's like most morons, they need to clean. You need to add a bunch of chemicals to tell them that you're clean. You know, so basically imagine like some leprechaun is in there pouring all these chemicals that just cause cancer, right? And Parkinson's and all kinds of bullshit. Yeah, bone cancer, blood disease. You know, he just pours them in there because the guy's so stupid. He thinks he needs that smell in order to be good, right? You know, avoid that. Avoid that in your food too. So how do you avoid that in your food? Look at food. Do you want to get the food that is bright red on Christmas? No. Do you need green beer on what is that? St. Patrick's Day? No, you don't need green beer. Do you need dark coffee? No. No, you don't need anything. What you're looking for caffeine, right? Caffeine doesn't have a color, right? I'm not saying you're going to get coffee without color, but that's the way you think about it. Is like, don't be, just because chocolate doesn't look dark, all it means today in Walmart is that they didn't put a lot of food coloring in there. So unless you want to go buy a cup of food coloring and drink that before breakfast, don't buy things with colors. You fucking moron. You do not want colors. Colors are not good. Colors are bad. Colors are chemicals in general. A mango has a nice color, so there are exceptions, right? An apple has a nice red, but even apples, they put wax on apples to make them look more red. They spray colors on food now, vegetables, fruits. They put shiny things on there. By the way, wax is evil. Wax that is on a fruit is evil. Why is it evil? The reason why it's evil, the reason why it saves the fruit from getting spoiled is because it locks in all the chemicals. That's what the wax does. And it looks shiny. Okay? So what it does is not just wax. The wax is like, it locks in things. And that's why you don't have to wash. That's why fruit lasts so long now. So what you want to do is you want to get soap and water and clean that fucking wax off. Because you're not just cleaning the wax off, you're cleaning off all the pesticides, right? So whenever you can, clean it off. And that's why when I look at, here's another rule, laws of physics. Laws of physics here. Okay, when you buy a can of something, canned stuff good, right? Rotten stuff bad. Canned stuff tends to be canned when it's fresh. Okay, so even though your mind says poor people eat canned things, fuck that thinking, right? Do you want canned fish? Yes, canned fish good. Now, do you want chemicals that they use on the inside of the can in order to keep it fresh? No, you do not, right? So what do? How do you balance that? Every time you buy something, look at the can and think to yourself, here's the law of physics. Look at the can. Can I wash this off or not? Can you wash Can you wash pesticides off of refried beans? No. Can you wash pesticides off of cream corn? No, you cannot. Can you wash pesticides off of Campbell's soup? No, you cannot. Right? So those type of cans I avoid. But what about beans? You buy beans, you can wash them off. What about fish? Can you rinse them off? Of course you can rinse them off. So canned fish, good. Canned refried beans, bad. Right? Simple rule. Canned corn, good. Canned cream corn, bad. Right? So there's a simple rule. So you can get the cheap price of a canned product because it doesn't need to be preserved, doesn't need to be frozen, doesn't need to be refrigerated, right? Doesn't require a lot of, you just can it, boot, done. It comes out healthy, right? But you can also have that benefit, right? Plus you can store it in your house longer, but you don't have the negative of a bunch of fucking chemicals, okay? So, and don't believe anything too much. Sperm count, don't immediately believe it. Use your own logic sometimes. So in the beginning of this article, I talked about this episode, I talked about using peer-reviewed studies. Sometimes they don't exist. Sometimes you don't have time to find them. So what do? Use your brain. So the sperm count supposedly started declining at the same time that everybody got fat as fuck. So I would say to myself, there might be a connection. My dick still gets hard. I'm 56. Okay? So I know a lot of guys who have a lot of problems with that, who are fat. So I would say there's probably a connection there, right? Now, what about sperm count? Is the factory that makes sperm, that is the most testosterone masculine thing you have, the byproduct of being masculine, is that sperm, is that machine going to be running on all cylinders? Is it going to be firing? Like when you go to the racetrack, you hear that engine just like, you hear that just running on all cylinders at full max volume, right? Max output, right? Is your motor going to be running if you have like 50 pounds of extra fat? Are you going to be sleeping well? Is it going to be making testosterone? Probably not. Law of physics, don't be a fat fuck. And you will avoid most health problems. Don't be a fat fuck. That's a simple rule, right? There's an easy way not to be a fat fuck, and that's by choosing the food wisely. But that's another article. That would be another law of physics for food, right? This is like law of physics for chemicals, right? So don't believe immediately that chemicals are causing sperm count. No, for all I know, this article proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that chemicals cause a sperm count problem. Now, they probably do. I know that. There's a good chance because the use of chemicals in our daily life, they really exploded at the same time as we got fat. So it might be, both things might be valuable. But the reason why I don't even need to read this article is why? Because at the beginning of this fucking episode, the reason why is I already told you the laws of physics to avoid most chemicals in your life. If you avoid most chemicals, you're going to avoid the need to worry about sperm count chemicals. By and large. There's always going to be the exception, the benzene, right? There's always going to be the exception, right? You're going to want to find out about. But if you avoid chemicals, you're going to avoid all the problems, including sperm count crisis chemicals. So again, laws of physics. Manage your time. Simple as possible, right? Save time and money. Make smart decisions. Be King Midas. Live a great life. Have a broad interest. The reason why I can be doing a number of things at the same time is because of these simple rules. They allow me to quickly eat, quickly work out, quickly avoid problems, silently and quickly avoid a lot of health problems. I'm just going to end this on one last thing that you might not know. I don't buy organic stuff. I don't waste money on organic, expensive things, even though I avoid most of the chemicals. I don't trust them because I lived in China. I've been to the factories. I'm not saying nothing is trustworthy. I'm just saying, like, as a simple rule, you're better off not having a coloring, rather than spending a lot of time researching a fake coloring that's not unhealthy, right? So as long as you can handle a chocolate that's clear, I'm not saying it exists, but that kind of thinking, a strawberry that's not red, as long as you can handle not needing a fucking nanny, this is chocolate. There is brown coloring here. This is strawberries. It is red coloring. This is an orange. It's orange colored, right? If you don't need that, this is soap. It smells like fucking strawberries. That isn't, it's just a stupid idea. That's clean. You need pine sol because it smells clean with extra chemicals to make it smell clean. So you can have extra Parkinson's, as a bonus, included in the price. It's Parkinson's, right? So there you go. Those are the laws of physics for chemicals. Listen to this over and over. Walk through your life just one time. Clean up all the chemicals in your life. You don't have to keep thinking about this. Take this one episode, fix everything chemical-wise in your life, okay? And then be done with it. Fucking never think about it again. Don't be except for, again, leave a small space for the benzenes. Leave a small space for those things that are not 80-20 rule. A bullet through your head is not the 80-20 rule. A bullet goes through your brain and it's all over. So that would not be an 80-20 rule. Falling off a 10-story building onto a bunch of spikes with poison and a bunch of, orangutans eating you and people stomping on you, and people burning your ashes. That would not be healthy. That would not be the 80-20 rule. So there is those 20% of things that you actually have to think about. But by thinking about the basics, it frees your mind. Not only do you go through life with less health problems, spending less money, happier, your mind less, your RAM memory less used, and more RAM memory for great things. Most people, even if they spend a lot of energy and studied every little fucking thing in their life, they might be able to nail everything 5% better than you. But they have no time for the juice of life, right? The juice, man, the juice. The fucking things that make you happy. The music, the friends, the travel, you want to nail everything and leave yourself open to sunlight of the spirit, the sunlight. And that only comes through relaxing. It comes through sleeping well. It comes through friendships. It comes through good tasting food. It comes through laughter. It comes through smiles. It comes through discovery of new ideas and lack of the same boring ideas over and over. We were talking about yesterday, not on an episode, but like me and Nelson, about wearing the same colors every day. Don't wear the same colors, have variety in your life, right? That variety will open up another part of your life, which is kind of like the humor, the poetry, the music, the sex, the smiles, the inquisition and curiosity, and that aspect of your life. So that kind of enjoyment aspect of your life, that is not something you can manage. So the reason why you want to be very simple about these other things is so that you have that free time and that peace, and that you can let that, like a flower, grow, right? Because you have that time, right? It takes time. When you go on vacation, you can't fly to the tropics, sit there for 10 seconds, say, man, I'm so relaxed in the tropics, and leave. Because you didn't have time to inhale, to allow your body to slow down. At the end of the day, our bodies are old school. Our brain is old school. We're limited by the baggage of evolution, the baggage of what we have, our limitations, right? So you have to allow time and low blood pressure and peace. Those things need to exist in order to go into that other space, right? That creativity space, that enjoyment space, right? So that's the final reason why you want the laws of physics. You want the fucking simple laws that will keep you on track in different areas of your life. So I'm dead serious about the chemical one. Go through your life. Look at shit in your life. Look at your cleaners. Look at your refrigerator. Look at your car. Look at your floors. Look at your paint. Look at your carpets. And chemicals can be invisible. I'll tell you one last chemical that's invisible. If you buy a really cheap plastic sheet in your shower curtain, that is fucking evil. This is like benzene. Take the time to read about that. The sheet with the heat and the water creates I forgot the name of the chemical, but it's evil. It's like it goes into the air and you breathe it. Cheap plastic, like a cheap yoga mat, a very cheap shower curtain. These are really terrible. You're better off if chemicals from your shower curtain is the one thing in your life that is bad, take the shower curtain off. Don't even buy a shower curtain. Take the time, get a rag, have it on the ground, take a shower, try to avoid getting water all over the place. And then the water that you do get, wipe it up. And then slowly get better and better at washing yourself without getting water everywhere. Don't even have a fucking curtain. You don't need a curtain. Or put a glass wall up. Right? So there's a few chemicals that are invisible. One of them is cheap plastic. And cheap plastic combined with heat is the worst one. It's the very worst one. So don't have a cheap shower curtain. Don't have a cheap yoga mat. Don't heat food in the microwave in plastic containers ever. Don't put boiling water into a Tupperware thing. Don't leave your water bottle in the sun in your car. I never do these things. This is a simple rule. I can use plastic, right? I'll use plastic. I'll use Tupperware. I'll drink from water. But I'll make sure it's not in the sun because I know that it degrades. I know that if you pour boiling water into a Tupperware thing, even though it's good plastic, it's tough. Some of it melts in there, right? So that's another law of physics. Cheap plastics, they're more like benzene. They're worth your time. So take the time, one time, do an overhaul of your whole life. Like what is that those TV shows, makeovers and stuff. Do a chemical makeover in your house, in your life, with your clothes. Chemicals can be in clothes. They can be in detergent that goes into clothes, that goes into your body. So when you buy a new shirt, wash it. Because most of the chemicals were in the making of that shirt. I used to always buy shirts and I would wear it as many times as I could without washing it because it doesn't need to be washed as much. The reason why it doesn't need to be washed the first time is because so many chemicals on it. So now I learned, okay, fuck that. I'll take it, I'll wash new clothes. I might wear it once. I'll wear it once. And I'll let the benzene, what the fuck goes in there, AIDS-inducing bullshit. I'm going to wear that maybe one day. I'm not a psycho, but then I'm going to wash it, get rid of it. So it's these little tricky things. Your new car smell, new clothes, soaps, cleaners, plastics in your cooking, plastics. Here's another reason why I avoid restaurants is because these motherfuckers don't care about my health. So they're going to be microwaving plastic, even at the most expensive restaurants, because it's easier. They're going to have if they make a bunch of food, Americans are psycho about one thing. If they make the food and they deliver the food, say 6 people are eating, and this is a simple rule I use, but another law of physics. Why I avoid restaurants is because you can't see the kitchen. In Asia, you can see the kitchen. You can go to the guy and point to the MSG and say, don't put that in there. And then you don't have it in there. The American kitchens are hidden and they don't let you go in there. So because of that, it's like food at Walmart that's processed. Because I can't see it, I don't trust it. Because I know how much people break the rules. I know how moronic companies can be and people can be. And I don't want to put myself at the risk of that, right? So here's another dumb thing they do, is Americans are psycho about getting food at the same time. So in other words, if they bring one dinner before the other ones, everyone's going to complain. I don't complain because food takes time to make. And a good chef, when he makes something, I don't want them to put it aside while he's making something else and then to microwave my steak in a plastic thing without me knowing it and then putting it on the plate so that it tastes like he just made it, right? Because that's what they do. Because you, as a moron, want your food at the same time as everybody else, they are forced to use plastic and microwaves all the time. Because you think the chocolate looks brown. You think that food has to be served at the same time. It's your dumb rules that cause these companies to do these dumb things that ruin your health. So don't have these dumb rules. I always tell the waiter, hey, don't worry about it. Whenever my shit's ready, just bring it. You can bring the fucking ice cream before the steak. I don't care. Like just bring it as it comes. Just as soon as it's ready, just bring it, right? Because I don't want them doing any weird shit behind the scenes. Just, I prefer. And that's partly why I don't like waiters and I don't like kitchens, restaurants, because I can't see it. I love Asian kitchens because it's basically just some dude standing there with a huge fire and a big fucking wok, and I can see exactly what he's putting in there, right? And I'll notice some yellow goop, and I'll be, what's that? And he'll say ghee. I say, don't put that in, right? And then he's like, oh shit. Well, then it's going to stick to the bottom. I say, use water. He's like, well, then it's going to have no flavor. I say, well, I want no flavor. And he's like, okay, you asked for it, right? And then I get it. I'm happy. He's like, wow, this American doesn't like flavor. How interesting. Now, he doesn't have the education to understand what I'm avoiding, but he knows what I want and he makes it for me, right? The guy never went to school, but that's fine. He makes the food perfectly for me. These American restaurants, because I can't go in the kitchen, I can't do that. And I'm blackmailable, right? I want to have control. I want to see. Now, of course, finish on this thing. I like to be social. And when we go out to eat with a bunch of guys after the summit or whatever, during the summit, I'm just going to order food. And I'm going to let them microwave it all the fuck they want. And then I'll let them add whatever bullshit they add. And I'm just going to laugh and have a great time because of the 80-20 rule. So I can break all the rules sometimes, and I can just laugh and enjoy myself, and I can be the guy that just doesn't give a fuck. And people that don't know me, that are retards, will say, he's lucky, he's genetically lucky, because I saw him eat all his food, I saw him eat ice cream, but what they don't see is the 80-20 rule. See, I'm just doing it because that's the thing to do. We're out eating, friends are out, everybody, I don't want to be the guy who's like all anal about everything, like, oh, we need to go to this, or this has to, that's like the worst. Like, if you don't want to have friends, be an anal dickhead, right? I'm not like that. I'm going to have a fucking good time. If we got to, I might avoid paying for parking all the time by myself, but in a group of guys, fuck it, pay for parking, right? 80-20 rule, 80-20, 80-20, 80-20, right? You're doing the right thing behind the scenes, allows you to break all the rules when it's convenient. And you could just enjoy people. Enjoy. And not everybody, my friends, they don't all live a good life. They might die at 40 from cancer because they don't follow these rules, right? That's very sad to me, but I can't change that. And I enjoy their company, right? I have friends that are total SJWs. I have friends that eat shitty food all the time. My friendship doesn't mean you're like me, although I do really appreciate people that are like me. And that's what I love about Ronin, man. I tell people the truth, and then you guys that are interested, you're the ones that are attracted. And that gives me wood, because that allows me in a group to do the things that I would have done alone, which is kind of really cool. It kind of reinforces it. I learn to know things, and it's very enjoyable. But I'm going to end on that. So there's a lot there. There's a lot in this one. If you can implement this, it's fucking valuable. Very, very valuable. And I understand it's long. Anybody listen to the end, comment below. I heard you say that. Yeah, that's right. I heard you say that. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening. All right. Have a good one.